Thank you. I'm absolutely thrilled that there's so many people today because I thought that there's not going to be anybody. That's why I invited my parents, my very close friends. So there is at least somebody that's going to laugh at my awkward jokes. And I just want to get an idea about the audience today. Like, is anybody born in the 90s or before the 90s? Yes, we survived. Pretty tough times. Indeed, I mean, and the main thing I want to talk about today is actually three things. Finding your passion. And I want to share, my struggles, because it's always, very intimidating when you look at somebody and, like Steve Jobs, and he's right there, and he tells you this story, but it's so distant from you. But, that's why I ask you the question, if you were born in the 90s, because we were through the same things. We were told that we need to get a good degree, we should get good grades at school, and all of these things that didn't answer the question. I mean, what the hell should we do with life? So passion is one thing, and the next thing is time. How do we make sure that our most valuable resource, our time, is utilized in the best possible way? And I'm going to talk about us swipes. How do we solve that problem individually and for teams? And why do we took the decision to establish our company here in Sofia? And the last thing, and probably it's something that I've been looking forward to talk about for a long time. How can we make Bulgaria amazing again? Because you see, every once in a while I go on Facebook and I see 20 facts about Bulgaria didn't know. Okay, let's see. And then they start off, the Bulgarian was, it was a Bulgarian that invented the computer. And I was like, no, it's not. It was, Bulgaria has the unique Basilicus bulgaricus. And I was like, wow, that is something to be proud of. So, and there's this list of 20 things that are so irrelevant because it's just facts. What about the success stories? What about the real things that make our country great? So before I get too emotional, I'm going to leave that part for the end. I'm going to start with something simple. And I'm going to start with 16-year-old version of me being all confused and not knowing what to do. Has anybody of you wondered what to do in life? I thought so. I mean, it's just one of those things that you ask yourself at one point, or at least you should ask yourself. So I had pretty simple dreams. Initially, I kind of wanted to be a jet fighter pilot, but then I realized that I can't do that because I need to wear glasses. And then I thought, what about becoming a bus driver? Not any kind of a bus, of course. I had a special preference, and no need to translate into English. That's a magnificent name. Everybody knows Chavdarki buses. Yes, amazing design. It was really I didn't so much want to drive the bus, but it was the design of that bus that fascinated me. And even if you look at it today, it's there is this Soviet spirit around it. So, but that wasn't even as close as my biggest dream. I actually, if you've been to the seaside, there's this trucks that they have this sort of container for sucking up poop. That was the thing that I was most fascinated, because not only that it had a great design, but there was also a little bit of hidden functionality. But the thing was that, joke aside, was that I didn't know what I was going to do. My parents have always been extremely supportive in every single thing that I wanted to do. Which I hope that I will be able to repay one day. But the thing is that for them, life was about getting a college degree, finding a stable job, and getting a comfortable life. And it didn't seem that, it mattered that much, the thing that you were going to do, because there were a lot of things I didn't like, and one of those things was math. My mom really thought it's a really good idea for me to study math and to go to the math school in Sofia, which I failed utterly. I got the lowest possible grade when I applied there, and thank God. Like, creativity wouldn't have dawned on me otherwise. But the thing was that school didn't answer those questions either. We had a school system where we were obliged to learn stuff we didn't like, stuff that were disconnected from the present, and things that didn't seem to have any purpose. And among all of these subjects, there wasn't a single thing that was related with what you wanted, what you thought about life, what you thought about Ivan Vazov and all those poems that we learned about. Why was it that our opinion didn't matter? And when I first learned that, for example, in the American college, they were writing essays about topics where they got to express their own opinion, I was like, oh my God, that's amazing. I mean, is it even possible? I mean, how are they allowed to do it? Because it just seemed so exciting. And I never got to understand why our school was like that. And ever since that moment, I wanted to change stuff. And I still want to see a different system, educational system in Bulgaria. I realized that it's something that it's not a single person that can do. And I know that there are other people, like you care about it as well. And that together we can change those things. So luckily for me, I've always been very naive about life. I've always wanted very much certain things, and that was really the thing that got me to make those big decisions without ever thinking about it. That's how I came to study in Denmark, where I spent the last 5 years there, and I really grew up as an individual and as an adult. And the thing was that the great thing about Denmark was that it really gave me a perspective about life that I never thought that it was possible. Because you see, I got to study business, and I didn't have any clue about business. Just to give you an idea, when I had a friend in school and he gave me, I don't know, he just felt like it. He gave me like 50 stutinki. I was so touched that I gave him one level back. Because for me, like, business was, I didn't understand the concept that, somebody will give you something for free because they wanted something back. For me, it was like, oh, this person is very nice. Maybe we should buy more stuff from them. But also, like, growing up in the 90s in Bulgaria, we had a very different perspective on business. I mean, the only businessmen we were hearing about were, yeah, you know who I'm talking about, like the big black guy, the big guys. Let's not be racist. There were no black guys. The big guys in the black cars. So I thought, I never want to be a businessman. I never want to have a business because that's bad. Business is synonym to bad. But studying business in Denmark, I realized, okay, there is this thing called value chain, which took me a week to understand what is a value chain and how can value move from the different stages through the value chain. It was like, but what is it? Is it something that you can pick up? No, it was this, vague concept. But the notion that you can create business and you can solve problems and you can make other person's life better suddenly gave meaning to everything. I mean, suddenly all the things that we got to study in university had purpose. Because it wasn't just a fancy model that you were going to be, all right, let's analyze the strengths and weaknesses of this opportunity. No, it had purpose because that model was about to teach you how do you break down a situation where you can find what is the problem that you are about to solve. So, but the thing that I loved most about my education wasn't so much the business part. It was always when we had to do projects. And the exciting part about projects was presentations and project covers. Now, my group mates would spend, days and nights writing stuff like, all the business mumbo jumbo, and I would spend like days, designing that front cover, like making sure that the typography is nice, that the colors are nice, and everybody was saying, "Oh, it doesn't really matter. Let's just ship it. Let's get over with it." But I was like, "No, it's the packaging. I mean, what kind of emotions do we want to send people? I mean, we want to build the impression that that project is the shit, that this is the thing that is really going to solve the problem." So gradually, I realized that I really loved that. And when I first had my internship, which was in a very, very ridiculous company, I got to do real estate. And I got to tell you, I'm not a good real estate broker. And I had the opportunity not only to call people on the phone and ask them, "Would you like to put your property in our system, sir?" "Yes." Or they would just say no. No, I got to design my very first print ad. And there was a little story behind it because it was targeted towards students. So I thought, okay, students, what do they want? Okay, maybe they want to have a little bit of fun, but at the same time, find a place to live. So I had this brilliant idea about building a small checklist, and one of them it was written in different languages, like in Czech, party, and in English, party, and then in French, to party, and then the last one was like, find an apartment with Casamon. And I thought that was really brilliant. If that doesn't bring customers, I don't think that phone calls will. Of course, it didn't really matter. It was an ad in a print magazine that it was free and it was looking all shitty. But what I did realize is that this is something I want to do. That design is something that excites me. And it was really like that naive thought that, what if I could be a designer? I never had an education as a designer, but what if? What if I could find a job as a designer? So I started thinking about that. And the second time I had an internship, I specifically wanted to do design work. And the guys that took me, they wanted to have an animated video. And I've never done an animated video. And it took me 2 months to make 2 minutes of very crappy animated characters that were supposed to sell their concept. But it was just, no matter how difficult it was, no matter how much time it took, I wanted to put more hours in to perfect it and to get it to the thing that I wanted to look like. And it's always been this thing that I've been asking myself, what is the thing I really want? No matter what the obstacles are. And I have this friend, his name is Jens, and he has a brilliant philosophy about life. So let's say that you're in the shopping mall and you are about to make the decision to buy something expensive. Now, most of us would say, you know what, that's not a good idea. Maybe I should save up this money. What Jens would do is he would pull a future Jens. So he would be like, well, I'm going to buy that no matter what, and future Jens will have to deal with it. And if future Jens is not smart enough, it's his problem. And I was like, this is so brilliant, because not only that you get to do the things that you love to do, but you also distort reality to such an extent that the future doesn't really matter. I mean, you're going to figure it out. I mean, obviously, you're not going to die on the street from starvation. So what's the worst thing that could happen? And in that line of thoughts, one day I was sitting and I thought, what is really like the scariest thing that you could experience? Like something that could terrify you to an extent where you would be like, shit, I mean, why? And I don't know, how often do you think about death? I do sometimes, and luckily I'm in a really good health. But the thing about death is that it's the one certain thing about life. We're all gonna die. I'm gonna die, you're gonna die, we're all gonna die. And getting comfortable with that is the best thing that happened to me, because I realized if I'm 90 and I am on my deathbed and I know that I have one day what if I realized that I didn't do this, that I didn't go travel, that I didn't do design, that I didn't do photography? I mean, how terrifying is that? Because you know that there is no going back. I mean, you run out of time. Your time is like 5 more minutes. So I think about this, and I also look at other people, and I'm like, I always ask them, if you could wake up tomorrow, what is the life that you would want to have? Where would you like to live? What would be the thing that you would want to do if money wasn't an issue, if time wasn't an issue? Because the more honest we are with ourselves about the things that we want, the closer can we get to happiness and to do things that actually have purpose and not just to be brainless drones that are executing orders. And I've been very privileged to surround myself and find teammates that think in this way. So today with me, of course, are my very close friends and partners, Casper and Jana. And before I tell you about Swipes, I want to make a reference to what CJ said. And also like the question that he got asked, like, how did you deal with it? Like the fact that, you got through this accident. Well, the thing is that, there is no one to help you. There is no magical solution. There is no product. There is no service. If you don't put your shit together and take action, there is nobody that can do that for you. And there is no excuse that you wouldn't do it. And probably one of the most impressive people, and the people that, sorry, I'm getting a little emotional. The people that has inspired me the most is Casper, because you see, Casper has all the excuses that he could want to say why he wouldn't be able to start a business. Because you see, Casper didn't have an easy childhood as me, where my parents did everything for me, and I went to school and I was like, playing games and watching pornography all the time. But Casper had a different turnover, and the thing was that he got into trouble with drugs, and not only that, but he got in prison, and that was just when he was a teenager. What happened afterwards was that he realized this is not the life that he wants to have. This is not the person that he want to be. And he took the decision that he's going to change that. And, it's not easy. I mean, it's not easy to walk to your mother and say, I'm sorry that I screw up so badly, but I'm going to fix it up. But not only to say that, but every single day to do everything possible to make sure that you're on the right path. And that's the kind of a people that really inspire me and inspire every one of us. That no matter what the difficulties are, like CJ, he could have just said, you know what, I'm going to play World of Warcraft until the rest of my days. I could walk there, I could jump, it's going to be fun time. So the way that the three of us, me, Casper, and Anna, came to work together was, we knew instantly that we want to create something. We didn't know what that something was going to be, but we just had a special chemistry. And probably to a certain extent, the reason why we had the special chemistry was because, well, I've been boyfriend and girlfriend with Jana for 4 years, so we knew each other very good. And she and Casper knew each other very good because they were a couple, so it kind of makes sense. And yeah, it's every time that I tell people, it's like, but isn't it awkward? And I'm like, no, it's great. I mean, it's like, me and Jana are almost like brother and sister. And yeah, it's probably if you had told me about this like 10 years ago to the 16-year-old version of me, I'll be like, what? Me sharing something? There was a no option for me to share anything. But I knew from the day one that the three of us are going to make something. And we had a special idea. Like, we wanted to make a social game with a fun element. So it was, you could meet somebody in there. Could be a guy or a girl. And the game would give you some icebreaker challenges. So, for example, what did you eat this morning? It was like, then you photograph and it's like, cool. So we thought, like, it's going to be so cool that, we can just call it Sherry the Hairy Monster. Needless to say, we didn't continue with that. We had some problems like figuring out the whole branding and the whole product about it. But in that process, during those weeks of tireless work, what we realized is that, you know what? Why the fuck is task management so bad? Like, we were using Wunderlist, and it just sucked. It sucked that, every day, no matter how many tasks you put, it's almost never that you get to complete them. And you start off the next day with already 10 tasks that you haven't completed. And we thought, you know what, there should be a better way. Maybe if we make a timeline where you sort of are more flexible around your tasks, and if you could somehow remove all the things that you don't need to see, so you only see the things that you actually have to work on. So that's how our side project started, because we were like, well, obviously we've put 2 weeks in the Sherry the Hairy Monster. We shouldn't stop now that we're so close to making it a success. And we decided, okay, we're going to make a prototype, get it on the App Store, probably get some downloads, and then just continue with it. First of all, we loved it. I mean, it solved a problem for us, and it turned out that there were a couple of hundred other people that loved it. And we thought, you know what, that looks pretty legit. Maybe we should give it a try. And ever since that day, we've never turned back to anything else. We have been relentlessly focusing and pursuing the question of how could we make time management as easy as possible for people. Because the thing is that we waste so much time in so many activities that doesn't necessarily get you closer to your dreams. And what we believe in is that, people would be happier if they do the things that they love to do. And subsequently, the whole world would be happier. Now, I'm always a little bit more on the emotional and visionary side, whereas Casper and Jan are more realistic about things. But I like to consider that there should always be a bigger purpose in the things that you're doing. So we right now we're solving the problem for individuals, and we thought, we've grew up as a team. We're a company now in Bulgaria that we have 10 employees, and we already have the actual problem of how do we interact between each other and how do we make sure that the whole workflow stays intact no matter what happens. So we're focusing now on solving that problem as well, because the thing is that everything that's remarkable done by our civilization is made by teams. I mean, if you hear about a great movie or a great sports person, and it's okay, this person made it. He didn't make it on his own. There was a whole team of people behind him that made it possible. And having a functional team, having a team that can work together, focused and bonded by passion, is something that is so hard to get, but yet so desirable. So that's the main thing that we're solving. And the reason why we decided to move to Bulgaria, actually there are a couple of reasons. 2 of them, it's economical. So we have the opportunity to, as a startup, to utilize our capital in a much wiser way, and still have a great standard of living. But even most importantly, talents. Because we've been so privileged in Bulgaria that the IT sector has been booming in the past years, that we have so many new talents emerging and so many schools and so many stuff happening that it's easy to go and find the right people for the job. And we've been so fortunate of finding those people. Because ever since we started hiring in Bulgaria, iOS development and marketing, Swipes has been going just up and up. And we could have never done that ourselves. You always need the right people in the right moment. But not only that, but also like being in Bulgaria, we actually can make an impact. And that's something that you can't really do that easily in Denmark, because things in Denmark are comfortable. People are comfortable. People haven't grew up in the 90s of Bulgaria. They don't know what is it like to, not to have any cool clothes. I mean, I was very lucky, again, a little bit of a side story. I was very lucky to have my cousin's clothes. And she was 3 years older than me. So so here, being here, it makes so much sense, because everything that we do, we could pass on that knowledge to other people that want to start a business. Even if it's somebody that just has an idea, or somebody that is looking for an investment, or even our personal knowledge that we have about development and design, we can actually sit down and do whatever we can to pass on that. And the thing is that nowadays in Bulgaria, we're so privileged. We have an amount of freedom, an amount of resource that we've never had before. And there was this funny thought that I had the other day. Okay, what if we travel 200 years ago and 200 years forward? I mean, why is it that nowadays there are so many people that find all sorts of different excuses about not doing things? And why are we missing that laser-focused passion? Because you see, 200 years ago, people were really passionate about something. And not only that, but they were ready to give the one thing that they had and they cared about. And they were ready to give that for freedom. So that today, we could leave a mean comment on Facebook. How can we make Bulgaria into the success that it should be? We need more success stories, not about the yogurt, not about the rose oil. We need success stories about real people solving real problems. People like, for example, Waltopia, who are now one of the world leaders in in the thing that they do with climbing walls. They started with an idea. They started with an actual product that is making somebody's life better. Companies like CJ's that are solving real problems. Because the things that are going to inspire the next generation are not going to be the things that has inspired Bulgarians for the last 100 years. It's like, yeah, but we invented the alphabet. Well, so what? How can you tell relevant stories so that kids in school are like, oh my God, I want to be that guy, or like, how did that girl did it? And I see so much potential happening currently in Bulgaria, and that was the reason why I came back, because there really is a reason for us to be here, and there really is a lot of things that we can do. And if we don't do it, how do we want our generation to be remembered 200 years from now? I kind of think that it would be nice that they say, wow, good thing that these guys actually did something and they didn't just throw up napkins in the air all the time. Because that's one of the things that every time that I, tell to foreigners, they're like, but why do they throw them? It's like, well, it's it's a symbol of status. It means that you have a lot of money. And then they was like, okay, but can I bring my own napkins? No, it doesn't work like that, because if you bring your own napkins, that means that you're a cheap ass. The whole idea is that you pay a lot of money to get napkins and you throw them like, So if we don't do anything, it's because we don't want it hard enough. And I look around and I think that we do want it hard enough. So thank you. And I would like to answer whatever questions you have or sparkle a discussion. Yes?
You said in the beginning pretty much that there are three things that you want to talk about, and the first one was finding your passion, right?
Yes.
And at some point in your story, you did say you really wanted to get the design right and show that this report is the shit and that it's going to solve all the problems. But how did, I mean, that transition, like this is it, that just sort of came up for me. I didn't get how you got
Yes,
there.
I wanted to talk more about it, and it's good that you're bringing it up. For me, it's always been the obsession about beauty. I've just loved everything that was beautiful, and you know, for example, like you know the Chevdarka bus, it was something beautiful around it. So I always knew how exactly I want to get things. I didn't know how I can make that. So in terms of logo design or report design, I had an idea. Like I have seen a design that I really loved, and I didn't necessarily know how exactly I can put those things, but I can pinpoint that there were certain elements, colors or just curves or shapes that excited me. And I was like, why is this so exciting? It's like, huh. And I had the same thing when I started photography because you know, light is magical, and you can create a lot of things that influence people emotionally. So so the way that I've grew up as a designer is that I've always strived in a very naive and natural way for the next big thing, for the thing that I really wanted to create, and to put meaning and emotions in it.
You sound just like Steve Jobs.
Thank you, but I don't think that I'm Steve Jobs. I don't think that my story is unique in any way, and I don't think that I'm any different from other kids that grew up in the 90s here. So I think it's just a matter of the fact that I was lucky enough to be so naive that I just asked myself the question, what do I want? Yes, I know you.
Yeah, first I want to give a shout out to this person because he helped us design a logo for our Star Wars meetings. I was so desperate and he just said, well, we're going to do it. Sat down, he did our logo, and we had one of the best logos, so thank you, saved me hours.
Oh, like I will pay you afterwards.
At that point, I want to ask you about the importance of design. Let's say if we had to measure it, it's more of a hypothetical question. Let's say you have a website of a company. If the website had a very nice design, very slick design, by what percentage, I mean, they'll make more money? I mean, if it's really nice.
I'm happy that you're asking me this question now and you don't ask me 2 years ago, because 2 years ago it would be like, it'll be a success. Design is everything. It's important that it's beautiful. But it's not. I mean, everything out there, everything around us, the reason why it's around us is because it's the combination of everything. I mean, the reason why these boards are here is because not only that they look nice, but they also have a function in them and an experience that makes them desirable to work with and pleasant to be around us. And the thing about business and websites is that there needs to be a clear purpose. And design is something that can help you communicate that in an impactful way that nothing else would do it. But if the purpose is missing, then you will be doing art. And that's different, because art has the purpose to inspire people, I guess, and to excite them. And design is something that's meant there to serve you every day.
Nice.
Yes.
Did you use your app to prepare for this presentation today?
I actually didn't sleep tonight because I was a little overwhelmed. But no, it's been pretty much things that I've been talking to other people in the past years, and things that I wanted to share with others. And you know, it's about our country. I mean, like, God damn it, it's like we all want the same thing. Why aren't there more people that talk about it? Why aren't there more people that do stuff about it? Because the more individuals and teams we have in Bulgaria that solve problems for Bulgaria, and solve problems for outside of Bulgaria, the better we're going to be as individuals, as society. And yes, I got carried away, but oh no, I didn't use the app. Yes, I'm sorry.
Have there been people that have put you down or rules that have gotten in your way?
Of course, and the thing is that there are always going to be those people. There are people that would never understand you, and they would never understand why is it that you're so crazy, that you want this so much. And the thing is that everybody's entitled to an opinion, and we can't change that. What we can change is that we can inspire more people to think like us. And there are many ways to do it, and education is one of those things. I mean, there are so many cool things happening right now in Bulgaria. Like, for example, Abel have... And this is not product placement. I didn't bring this poster, but you know, Able has this initiative called Able Mentor, and it's, you know, it's that simple. It's like it gets children from school, like in their 10th or 11th grade, something that they want to do, and it connects them with people in the industry that want to help them out. And you know, why not? Why not if you could spend, you know, a day from your week or even less, and you could actually inspire somebody to think like you and to do good stuff for our country and for the world, why not do it? And things like that are so cool to see happening. And I often talk about the girl that I got matched with from the program, because I didn't know how teenagers nowadays think. And she's here today. And because I thought, I mean, how different could we be? I mean, like, I feel like I'm still like in high school, but obviously, like, I got a little bit more beard than. But the thing that I was absolutely blown away is that she thinks in a way that she has a mindset that I acquired when I was 21. And I don't think it's only because girls develop faster than boys. I think it's because, you know, kids nowadays, they have so much access to information, and they don't care about school. School is just like this thing that happens, but they have their own interests. They have their own YouTube channels. They play their games. They start up their ideas. And we need to make sure that there are more kids like that, and that we can do everything that we can, even just by helping them out with a logo or an advice, to make sure that they succeed in what they're doing. Yes.
I just wanted to ask, how do you keep yourself motivated, and how do you handle things when they go wrong?
I am just delusional about reality, and my teammates would confirm it. I'm like, that's not a problem. It's like we can't get money for, like, you know, in the beginning we didn't have money in Stripes. You know, we worked for a year and a half without getting paid, and I was like, it's okay, we're gonna get paid. You know, we're gonna get an investment. But it wasn't me that was going to investors and getting no. Yeah, the product is nice and the team is nice, but I don't see the potential. But it was Casper and Jana doing it. For me, it was really easy. It's like, we're gonna get an investment. And we did, of course. And the thing is that, you know, if you're naive enough and delusional about that, well, it will happen. After trying 100 times, it will happen. So it's that easy.
Any last question? Well, no, I guess we can continue with the beers.
Ooh,
maybe.
yes, I like that.
Yes.
Thank you so much
Thank you so
for
much.
having me
It
here.
was our pleasure.
Yes.